Right, I'm checking to check it out. So I'll quickly talk about. Well, I'll say quick, but I'll try and get through these videos a bit quicker than usual now. So we're gonna talk about why does these days, currently over the last few years, why does having ADHD seem to be some sort of I don't know, some sort of trophy? Why is it deemed that way? I don't get it. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about, so you see in people's bios in it. Now, it's more so, well, yeah, namely women's bios. So this is something I've noticed over the past several years now, especially when more so, when like ADHD and all that kind of stuff became kind of popular. Around the same times, actually, as when when people have like mental health, like depression, stuff like that. Same time, it pretty much happened the same time as that, basically. Around that time, or probably just probably a little bit after. But yeah, there was a time. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what kind of year. But I'm probably gonna go if I had to guess. So it's 2026 now. So let's say I'm just gonna put a ballpark figure. Let's say about 2010 onwards. All right. You know, again, even back then, yeah, it's around that time, I think, anyway. So, having mental health issues was seemed that that was almost made popular, almost made to look like against some sort of like trophy, like brownie points. Notice that like it was mainly like celebrities and that when they go on TV and or whatever. And they'll talk about their mental health and all this stuff, right? Now, someone someone who suffered from mental health issues myself, depression, yeah, and well, to be honest, it's still ongoing. Fuck you know, yeah. I can say that. I can say I'm honest. Tell it how it is. Yeah. So from somebody who's more recently of experienced myself, the way these people were talking about before, man, it's a lot of fucking cock and bull. Yeah. Because when you really got stuff like that, the way some of these celebrities and whatever, or influencers, whatever, those kind of people, the way they were talking about it, man, as if it was just some sort of joke. You know what I mean? Like we all get sad, we all get sad, we all get down, we all feel a little bit depressed, right? But yeah, so these people, right? They would class that as being having depression, you know, because the fact that they went for a little rough patch or they're a bit sad about something. Nah, you fucking ain't. So yeah, it started with the celebrities, and obviously, because people like to fuck you follow, don't they? So obviously, then normal folks like doing all that shit, right? And blaming X, Y, and Z, fucking on fucking mental health. Yeah, as if it's some sort of joke. It ain't no fucking joke. From somebody who's experiencing it, ain't no fucking joke, right? I never used to understand it. I never understood it back in the day. I didn't. I didn't know of one person who was close to me. Yeah, one of my best friends before. He suffers from that, right? And I used to see some of the stuff he'll go through, some of the things he'll do, some of his behavioural patterns. And again, like I could see it, certain things he'll tell me about, and I didn't get it, but I I believed him, obviously I didn't understand it either, but I got what he was saying, you know what I mean? But anyway, we're on a bit of a tangent there. So yeah, it's not a fucking joke. Anyway, so just after that, that's when ADHD started to make its rounds. Yeah, like some sort of like you get some sort of fucking cookie, or you get a fucking pat on the back. You got fucking ADHD, right? Right. So So back then, and obviously up until now, people start to put these things in their bios. You know what I mean? Like, um, whatever, whether it is, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, all them kind of things. Even dating apps. I've seen that as well. Numerous times I've seen it in the past, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, even in dating apps, so like people are saying, I've got 80. I can't remember exactly, some people, how they'll word it, but they'll talk about, they'll put it there. And like the way they'll word it, or as if it was like, as if it's some sort of brownie points, like, hey, I've got ADHD, so fucking date me. You know what I mean? I remember something along the lines. I'm trying to think now. It was something like, um, it has some sort of bullet point. It's something to the words of effect of, diagnosed with ADHD, and what do you say now? Again, I can't remember exactly, but it's something along the lines of, yeah, diagnosed with ADHD, and being with me, no 2 days would be the same, or you know what I mean, as if it's some sort of like fucking some attributes, as if it's some fucking attribute. Like, what fucking planet are we on, man? What the fuck's going on, right? I just think, honestly, man, like some sort of fashion, some fashion statement, you know what I mean? To have fucking ADHD, what the fuck is that about, bro? Since when having mental health issues or behavioural issues, right, be seen as some sort of good thing, or or having some sort of benefit from it? Like, what the fuck is going on? Honestly, I swear to God, bro. Like, honestly, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah. So, um, yeah, what I'm gonna say now. So, yeah. So I've been seeing that now. Like, it's almost like some sort of trend. I'm like, nah. Again, this ADHD thing is, I think, for the most part, not all of it, but for the most part, it's just a lot of bullshit. These people in the medical world, they just want to label shit. You know what I mean? They just want to label bad behavior. That's what I call it, bad fucking behavior. Yeah, because there's people that, there's adults, kids, whatever, who have bad behavior, and they'll be said they've got ADHD. And but for the most part, people with ADHD is, it's more so stuff to do with, you know they constantly overthink. Their brain can't shut off. They'll do one thing, but then they'll be thinking about doing something else. Yeah, trying to do multiple things at once. No, you know what I mean? Those kind of things. And I mean, what I'm saying? I'm not going to run through the whole list of, um, the symptoms of having it. And obviously, bad behavior does fit under that as well, sometimes. Well, according to the medical people. But anyway, so talking about the behavioural side of it again, it's some sort of fucking trophy. Oh yeah, like, I got ADHD. Yeah, but yeah, my two kids got ADHD. Oh, man, what the fuck you on about? So by saying that, so that's your excuse for your children or whatever, or even yourself, to have bad behavior, have piss poor behavior. Ain't no fucking excuse. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, it's funny how this thing. It's funny how bad behavior got labeled as ADHD. In these recent times, but it wasn't fucking 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It wasn't. Yeah. Because guess what? If you have bad behavior, you have bad behavior. End of. Yeah. And for me, for the most part, the cure for ADHD is a fucking whooping. Yeah. That's what we used to get in my generation and below. Right. We used to get a fucking whooping. You step out line and get fucking whooped. Yeah. Whether it's with a hand, whether it's with a fucking slipper, a shoe, a belt, whatever could come to hand, to your parents' hand, you'll get fucking whooped. End of. And to be honest, that's the cure for ADHD. To get your fucking ass whooped. Yeah? Simple as that. So, all these kids got this ADHD shit, right? And allowed to get away with fucking everything. Allowed to get away with fucking murder. Oh, cause it's because they got ADHD. Nah, bro. Fuck all that bullshit, bro. Fuck all that, mate. Nah. The cure for ADHD is to get your ass fucking whooped. That's it. That's all. Simple as that, right? Ain't nobody gonna tell me otherwise from that. Because when I was a kid, yeah, I didn't hear about any of you having fucking ADHD. Who were bad, bad behaved kids we used to know back in school and stuff like that. Yeah, primary school and stuff. Yeah, and it was never a thing back then, and it was never a thing before I was born. You know what I mean? It wasn't. So stop it. Nah, that shit ain't work with me. You don't wash with me. Yeah, because we'll soon see. We'll soon trust me. If people had to fucking bit some balls by themselves, right? We'll soon see how many kids really have ADHD when they got their ass fucking whooped for stepping out of line. Yeah? Because they'll soon get in line from getting their ass whipped. It's that simple. Yes, they would. And no one can tell me otherwise, yeah? But since we live in this fucking pussified society now, yeah, this mamby-pamby society where a lot of parents these days feel like they can't fucking discipline their children by by hitting them, right? Because they feel they can't do that because they'll get in trouble, right? Then then they allow their kids to run fucking riot, yeah. And that's why you see all this fuckery going on now, especially with all these little kids, yeah. Because they feel it's because they know they can get away with shit because they won't get a they won't get a fucking beating, right, by the parents. So they'll go out and do all this fucking mischief and shit, yeah. You can see for yourself, yeah. All these young kids going around, whether they're robbing other kids, primary school age sometimes, man. It starts from primary school age, and robbing other kids, fucking stabbing other kids, just totally abhorrent behavior, right? That's what it is. And that's, man, this is why society is falling, because the lack of discipline. You know what I mean? The lack of fucking discipline, the lack of basic discipline. It's not hard. It's not fucking hard. It's not hard. It's not. Trust me, it's not hard. Yeah. And when I was a kid, man, I used to feel a certain way when I used to get disciplined. You know what I mean? When I was when I was in primary school ages upwards. Well, ever since I was about whatever age. I don't really remember when I was like 3, 2. You know what I mean? But from reception age upwards, right? I used to get my fucking ass whooped when I was, if I was cheeky, rude, or whatever. You know what I mean? But I wasn't really a bad behaved kind of kid like that anyway, to be honest. But obviously, kids at it, so I had my little fair share of whatever. And you know what? Obviously, back then, you think you were dealt an injustice, but actually no, right? And I realized this when I got to about age, probably about 15, and I realized, you know what? I'm so fucking glad that my mum disciplined me the way she did, right? Because the way I used to think before, I used to, when I was a kid, man, I used to think, fucking, I hate you. I fucking hate you. That's how I used to think. But like I said, from about age 15, man, I kind of realized, I thought, you know what? I'm so glad that I got disciplined the way I did, because I know I know I could have probably turned that way worse, right? Again, not to say that I was never a troublemaker or anything like that, but when you lack basic guidance and basic discipline, right, it will follow you, into the real world, and you'll get yourself in some trouble. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was fucking grateful, man. I was fucking grateful that I got disciplined. I'm so fucking grateful, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you can see the people who have been disciplined growing up. You can see the difference. You can spot it mile off. You can see it, right? And yeah, so I was very grateful from an early age. I realized from an early age that I was happy. That I benefited from being whooped. I realized from an early age. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know what the end message is, to be honest. I don't really know what the end message is, but yeah, it's basically a little talk on it, basically. You know what I'm saying? And just how we like it, just how we're in this like these fucking dire states. We're in this fucking dire state in society now. And again, a lot of it is down to the lack of discipline. Absolutely, it's just fucking, it's sad. It's fucking sad, really. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's fucking sad. And before I end, I'll say it again. The cure for ADHD, right? The cure for ADHD, and I'm talking about more so the behavior, the bad behavioral side of it. The cure for that is getting your fucking arse whooped. Simple as that. And I'm out.